Good morning. Very good to see you all here. I represent the 143rd District, which includes most of Wilton and part of Norwalk. I'm going to focus on Wilton because Wilton is in that part of the southwest of Connecticut that has lots of trees and hills and no light at night, and most people on well and septic. Approximately 81% of all Wilton households lost power at one time as a result of Irene, and that also meant loss of water, and there was, of course, loss of telephone and cable service. The storm ended on Sunday, August 28th, and the last resident without power had power restored late on the evening of Monday, September 5th. There was a clear break in the way things appeared to be being taken care of, and I think the way they were taken care of, that came at about the morning of the Thursday following the storm. That would have been September 1st. During that time, work crews were very sparse on the roads. Residents were not able to reach a live representative on CL&P customer service lines, and when they did, they found it very difficult to get any concrete information about what was happening. For the first few days, Wilton's Emergency Operations Center, which was all set up, ready to go, was also unable to get concrete answers to give to people because they weren't getting them from CL&P. I have to say that our liaisons with CL&P were excellent, and when they had information, they were absolutely willing to give it to us. They were very responsive. But during those first few days, they didn't have much information. Around the morning of that Thursday, September 1st, the situation had dramatically improved. Suddenly, there were lots of crews visible on the roads, many of them from out of state. Large numbers of residents at once were beginning to have power restored. And CL&P began to be able to explain what their method was. This is how we're going to go about it. This is who's first. We're going to go to larger circuits first. We're not going to do individual houses. Here's why, etc. They also began to issue statements on which streets and which areas of town were going to be dealt with that day. So it was much easier to communicate things to people. Also, folks who had asked for updates and estimates on power restoration online were beginning to get them at that point. So things dramatically improved at that stage. Even when that had happened, there were some issues. When those online estimates began to come out, everyone was getting systematically 11:30 p.m. next Tuesday night. And I think that was meant to be a worst-case scenario, but most people interpreted it as the time when they would get power. Residents of peripheral areas of Wilton were told at certain times, either by CL&P or by the Wilton Emergency Center, that they might be connected to circuits in other towns. And it was important because people didn't know if they could get help from Wilton or whether they had to get it from somewhere else. Also, there were a number of businesses who were constituents who were unable to operate for several days and lost clients or income. So in hindsight, it seemed that during those first few days, there was a different situation that didn't allow for progress to be made as quickly as it was later, after the Thursday. It appeared that CL&P wasn't equipped during that time or prepared to set town-specific priorities for several days after the storm. The biggest problem seemed to be communication gaps between the management of CL&P and their local operations teams and the town operations center. The most frequent comment I had from residents was not, "I want my power back, I want it now, I'm uncomfortable." I think they understood that it was going to take time and that CL&P and everyone else was doing the best they could. But they did feel they wanted more information about what was actually happening. Why are we last in line? Why have they not gotten to our neighborhood? Or what is the order? How is this being done? That would have been reassuring. I would make a final remark that the call for a rate hike that came out during the aftermath of the storm was unfortunate, and my constituents didn't react to that very well. Questions that came out in last week's hearing from a number of people about why, with the second highest electricity cost in the country, customer service can't be better, and those are appropriate questions. Again, I will say that the folks I had to work with at CL&P were wonderful, very responsive. The ground crews were very responsive and really lovely to the people they were serving. All of our teams in Wilton did a wonderful job, but there are some communication gaps here that I think, when they are fixed, will go a long way towards improving customer perceptions. Thank you very much for the opportunity to testify.